this is Amia, Amber for short, and today I am talking about my webcomic project I am making. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Alright, class is in session. Alright, so let's start with the concept. Before I explain the concept to you, let me talk about how I came up with the idea. It's a little weird, so just stick with me. So as most artists who are online, they heard of this challenge called Inktober. Basically, it's when you make 31 illustrations for the month of October and post them daily. For artists, it's a great opportunity to reach new audiences because social media algorithms love daily posting. So for me, I wanted to try something for Inktober, and I don't exactly remember what I was doing at the time to come up with this idea, but I thought about making food chain mascots into fighting characters, like video games such as Soul Calibur and Tekken. Don't remember exactly why I changed my mind on the idea, but I wanted to make a food chain mascots into Halloween costumes, like Burger King in a toga, or the old design of the mascot of Dairy Queen dressed as a queen. I have the concepts down and finished, but I highly doubt I'll actually use it for anything. I may do it in the future, but who knows. During that time, I wanted to start making comics. I wanted to have a small project to start with the journey, so I was coming up with ideas. The concept of food chain mascots interacting and living their lives was one of the ideas I stuck with. Since I'm into drawing OCs, I wanted to make original characters. And so, food service was born. Well, that was a name for a while before I started developing the story more and realized that food service wouldn't make sense. So I changed it into the mascots. So yeah, that was the concept. Long-winded, I know. Though the plot is definitely more simpler and shorter. So let's get to there, shall we? Alright, so we got the concept out of the way. Let's talk about the plot. The plot of the mascots is basically about a mascot named Blake, who has been in a family-owned business called Bear's Breakfast for 10 years. Due to unexpected circumstances, the owners and Blake decided to move to Cove City to expand their business. For Blake, it's not only an opportunity to grow the business, but to do what he always wanted to do, to have a big mascot family to call his own. His journey consists on meeting different mascots and exploring the city as he will discover the lives and stories of his people. Pretty simple, right? Since it's my first comic project, I want to not make it a big high-stakes story. Although I am a big action girly, slice of life themed medias have a soft spot in my heart. Alright, let's talk about the setting of the story. It will take place in modern times like social media, cars, anything current technology in our current time. It's going to be set in the US, and the location will be in Cove City, which is basically New York. I am a girl that lives in a small town that have never set foot in New York, so I'm not very knowledgeable about the culture. Of course, I can't do extensive research on the state, but I know I'm going to miss things that you have to be a New York native to understand. I didn't want to look too incompetent with this comic, so instead I decided to make a city on my own, so that way I can make my own world and add anything that I want to the city. Now that I have the concept, the plot, and the setting, I can move in to the best part of the story, the characters. Now, this webcomic is going to have like a large cast of recurring characters that will be followed throughout the story. It will take hours if I introduce them, every single one of them. So we will stick to 3 primary characters just for this video. So Blake is the mascot of Bear's Breakfast, which is a family-owned business that has been running for 10 years. Blake's considered the business owners as his parents and their kids as their siblings, so they will be addressed as so. Before we continue, here is some context. In this comics world, mascots can live as long as the business runs. It could run for 10 years, 30 years, 60 years, and beyond that. In a situation where a business is struggling or worse, inactive, the mascots cease to exist, disappearing from the planet, which is considered death to any mascot. Why am I bringing this up? Well, Blake is in a predicament. It's not as severe as bankruptcy, but his business is struggling. Mascots have symptoms related to a failing business. There are 5 stages of symptoms. Stage 1 is mild, and stage 5 is extreme. So, since Blake is a stage 1 case, let's go over it. Level 1 has the following symptoms: slight fatigue, low-grade fevers, headache, light dizziness. Blake one day felt a little sluggish and had a low-grade fever. The doctor gave him the cold, hard truth that if he can't get his business in order, his symptoms will get worse. So, with Blake and his parents on board, they decided to move to Cove City to basically keep Blake from disappearing forever. Despite of the crazy situation he is in, he has dreams and aspirations. As I stated before, his dream is to have a big family of mascots to call his own. As a family-oriented man, he wanted to have an extensive family outside his own. What he wants more than anything is to help others, human and mascots alike, with any problems that comes their way. Unfortunately, Blake will realize that some mascots that he can't help or save, no matter how hard he tries. This is my southern boy. I wanted to have someone to relate to in reference of living in the South since birth, and I have no idea how to function in a city setting. Alright, next up is Honey. Honey is the mascot of, okay, hopefully I say this right, Blaggreen Miel des Crème.
Lingerie miel et crème.
I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I'm not French, and I never took French. It's honey and cream bakery in English. But anyways, the bakery is also a family-owned business that have been running for 30 years. Honey does consider the owners of the bakery as his parents as well, and I will address them as such. His parents came up with the idea to make his appearance identical to their son, who is a surviving twin. Despite not being actual twins, people compare Honey to his older brother, which, comes with self-esteem issues and a large salt of identity crisis. So as soon as Honey finally set his boundaries and wanted to be his own person, his parents respected his wishes. At least they did. One family member didn't. Spoiler alert, it was his brother. But that's a story for another time. Anyways, months after the conversation, Honey and his parents moved from Belgium to the United States, which gives Honey a fresh start. 5 years into living in the United States, he is thriving with a successful business, amazing friends, and a supportive family. However, he is still struggling with self-esteem. He is always motivated to be the best baker he can be, but his dream is to feel like the best baker he can be. I honestly can't tell you how I came up with the story for him or exactly why I came up with the look for him. It's probably looking at Belgian waffles and I thought, a Belgian baker. As for appearance, I don't know how I came up with it, but he is so adorable. Alright, let's go to the last character. Let's meet Troy. Troy is the mascot of the Beach Babe Subs. I love that name. Unlike his two friends that run a mom and pop shop, he is a franchise of a multi-million-dollar business. Basically, when he was created, he had a limo and $1 million card waiting for him. Even though Troy loves spending money on himself, he loves spending money on his loved ones more. It could be as small as getting tickets for a movie or something big as a $1,000 loan. Sadly, his generosity has caused him to work for a more powerful and wealthier mascot. And to make matters worse, he did it to protect his CEO. No one, not even his best friend of 5 years, doesn't know his situation. Calm and collect a rich man that is working for a powerful mascot underground. So basically, Troy lives a double life. Will his secret be discovered by his two friends? Who knows? But anyways, that is it for this video. Wow, that was a lot. I will make 2 comics regarding the story. One will be mini mascots, which is basically a small one-shot comics with the characters in chibi forms, not only to get me some practice, but also to have content of the characters as I work on the main project, which is the mascots. If you want more content of this series, I would suggest you subscribe to the channel. That way you will be up to date with regarding the project. Alright, go out.